Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. And this is again, I'm back with my Ielts practice. And in my sessions, if you are already not familiar, you can go through from day two. Day one was not having proper audio, but my goal is to do it live and practice. And if someone can use this, they can refer my live sessions, and it will be probably not be sticking around, so make sure you can use all these recordings as soon as possible. So let's start today. I wanted to complete whatever we left, like where we left yesterday. Let's start. uh, Let me log in first. Okay, so I'm ready. Let me share my screen. We completed scheming part yesterday. Let's start with today's session.
Hello and welcome to the class. My name is Daniel, and today we're going to be talking about how to understand what distractors are in the Ielts exam. If you have a question for us, you can go to the top of the screen and click on the chat icon to send us a message. And then we're going to talk about how we can recognize them and avoid them in the Ielts exam. So by the end of the session, you'll be more aware of how distractors are used in the Ielts exam. During the class, there'll be questions for you to answer. These will be below the video, and I'll tell you when you need to answer them, and I'll give you 10 to 15 seconds for each one. So let's start by looking at what distractors are. Well, distractors are answers that look like the correct answer, but are actually incorrect. So they use keywords in the text and answer to take the student's attention away from the correct answer. So they create a situation where you'll read a question and you'll look in the text and you think, yes, A is the correct answer, but actually they distracted you. They've used some words in there. Maybe it's the same word in the text and the answer, and you think, that's the correct answer, but they distracted you in this way. So we call these things distractors, and they happen a lot in the reading test. Okay, so we're going to take a look at a particularly common type of question that comes up in the Ielts exam, and it's this type of question, which is multiple choice. Now, multiple choice questions are quite tricky because they often have distractors in them. Because they have more than one answer option, so they have 3 or 4. In that situation, that means that one answer is correct and the others are all going to be distractors. So it's really important to analyze it and really check which is the correct one. Now, the first step you want to do whenever you get a question like this is to highlight the key words in there. And we're going to look at what do we mean by key words. Well, keywords for starters are nouns and noun phrases. So like in here, we've got the writer, we've got the word her eyes, And we've got her exam as well. So I'd want to highlight those things there. Then you'd want to highlight verbs and verb phrases like go to bed, hurt, doesn't sleep well, and wanted to feel good. They're all the verbs or verb phrases, and they're very important. The following thing would be adjectives, another key word there. And here we've got the words very tired and 100% sure are adjectives. And then the final thing that you'd want to highlight is all the adverbs or the adverb phrases. So here we've got why. I've also got the word early. I mean, you could say that's part of the verb phrase, go to bed early. And we've got the next day. It's a noun, but it's acting like an adverb in this sentence. So once you've done that, then you're ready to start trying to find the answers to the question. But that should always be the first step with pretty much every IELTS question, and particularly with the multiple choice ones. So we've got the highlighted question here and answers, and you can see here we've got the sentence which contains the correct answer somewhere. Now, what I would like you to do first is to look at question 1 below the video and read that sentence and see if you can choose the correct answer. Okay, let's have a look together. We'll go through one at a time. So let's see. Why did the writer go to bed early? She was very tired. Well, let's have a look. It says, that night, exhausted, I went to bed at 8 p.m., knowing that I needed to be 100% for the following day's exam. Now, if we have a look here, very tired and exhausted have the same meaning. But we want to know why did she go to bed? And here it doesn't say she went to bed because she was exhausted. Here it just says, that night exhausted, I went to bed. That means she felt exhausted when she went to bed. It doesn't say that's the reason or that's why she went to bed. So this is what we call a distractor. The synonym or the key word has the same meaning, but it doesn't give us the correct answer to the question. Now let's look at the second one. So we can see here it says she is 100% sure that her eyes hurt when she doesn't sleep well. But if we look at this, we can see 100%. So they look the same, but they have different meanings in these two sentences. So in this one, she's 100% more. That means she definitely knows. However, in this one here, she said that I needed to be 100%. Now, when you are 100%, that means that you feel good. You feel awake and yeah, good. So 100% here and 100% here have two different meanings. So that is another example of a distractor, but the meaning of the word is not the same. One tip is that if it's the exact same word, 100% and 100%, it's probably not the correct answer. So now let's look at C. Well, it says she wanted to feel good for her exam the next day. Okay, we can see here it said wanted. I went to bed at 8 p.m. knowing that I needed to be, okay, wanted, needed to be. They're synonyms, more or less. To feel good, we said be 100%. That means feel good. If you say, oh, I'm 100%, that means you feel good. So wanted and feel good for her exam the next day and the following day's exams, they're synonyms as well. So we can see that C is the correct answer because all of the parts paraphrased or have synonyms here. All the keywords are in there. So it's important, very important, not to just look for one keyword in the text. You have to find the part that you need, read it quite carefully to make sure all of the parts of the answer are in the text. Let's have another bit of practice. So here's another question. It says the reaction of her friends to the news was A, largely positive, B, that of congratulations all around, and C, a general lack of enthusiasm. So let's look at this keywords again. We've got here reaction of her friends to the news as largely positive, congratulations all round, or a general lack of enthusiasm. So these would be the keywords here. Now I'm going to bring up the sentence here, and I would like you to look at question 2 below the video and see if you can choose the correct answer. I'll give you 10 to 15 seconds for that. Of her friends. So when I told my friends, that's the reaction of her friends to the news. So the news is I'd won the race. So I've got synonyms there. Only a handful congratulated me. So here we've got congratulations and congratulated. So you might think B is the correct answer because you've got congratulations and you've got congratulated. But the important thing here is the adverb all round. And all round means everyone. So if we say congratulations all round, that means everyone congratulated me. However, here it says only a handful. That is not the same as all round. That just means some. Some people congratulated me. So B is not the correct answer. And it has this congratulated is a distractor. It says the rest, so my other friends, met my announcement. So the news is another synonym is announcement with a look of disinterest. So disinterest is a lack of enthusiasm. The rest would be generally, so most of them. So C here would be the correct answer. So it's very important, again, not to just look for one word and to look at adverbs, the difference here being between all round and just a handful. Now we're going to see another situation when distractors use a different question type. So here we have a matching features question, and it says which computer A, B, or C matches the statement. And here's the statement. It processes media information with ease. Now, the first thing we need to do, again, is to think and highlight the key words here. So here we'd say it. It means the computer. Processes would be an important word. Media information would be another keyword, and with ease is another keyword. And in this task, you have three descriptions of computers, and you have to match one of them to this statement here. So what I'm going to ask you to do is look at question 3 below the video and choose which computer matches that statement. Okay, let's go through one computer at a time. So we're going to start with A. So it says, this computer's media player is very intuitive. So we've got here media player, and here we've got the word media in this. So again, maybe someone taking the Ielts exam might see media, and you might look at media player, and you think, there we go, okay, that's got a key word in it. But media player and media information is not the same meaning. Just the word media is the same, but media information and media player are different. So that is a distractor. If we keep looking, so this computer's media player is very intuitive and easy to use. Okay? So here we had the word ease and easy, they're related, but with ease means it's quick and it does it simply, it does it easily. But easy to use is saying the person can use this computer easily. So it's not that the computer processes information easily, but it's that people can use the computer easily. So there are two different meanings in those sentences. So again, that's another example of a distractor. So then it says, but when it comes to processing capacity, so processing capacity, which is what we want to look at, processing, so that keyword is important, it is somewhat lacking. So lacking and with ease, lacking means it's very slow. With ease means it can do it very quickly. So we can see here that if we read the full sentence, there are some distractors, but overall it is not correct. Now let's look at this second one. So it says, B, the hard drive on this machine is huge and can hold a lot of information. So again, we've got here media information and here hold a lot of information. But there's two different things that a computer can do. One is process information and the other is hold information. And they are two different things. So if a computer holds information, it means it can store it. So it has a big hard drive. If it processes information, it means it can use the information quickly or access the information very quickly. So those two things are different functions of a computer. So again, the word information here is a distractor. And then if we continue that sentence, it says, however, it does feel a bit sluggish at times. Feel a bit sluggish? Sluggish means it is slow, a bit slow. So that's the opposite of process information with ease. So this sentence, again, is not correct and it contains distractors. Let's now look at C. So, okay, we said A is not correct, we said B is not correct, so C must be correct, but let's just check anyway to make sure. So it says this has a quad-core 3.8 gigahertz processor. So processor here is the noun of processes. Processes is a verb, processor is a noun. So again, you can look for this keyword. You would have seen processing here and processor here. So just looking for the one keyword will not be enough to find the correct answer. Let's keep reading, which is particularly rapid. Rapid means fast, very fast. So rapid could mean with ease, so it processes things with ease when working with Photoshop and other design programs. So Photoshop and other design programs is media information. Let's just show that more clearly. We've got processes, processor here. We've got with ease, particularly rapid, and media information is Photoshop and other design programs. So we can see that C is the correct answer because it contains all of the information in that sentence. And that's what you need to do. You need to check that all that information is in the sentence, not just look for one word or two words, because if you do that, it might be a distractor and you might get the question wrong. If you have a question for us, remember you can go to the top of the screen and click on the chat icon to send us a message. Hello and welcome to the class. My name is Daniel, and today we're going to be looking at understanding distractors. If you have a question after the class, you can go to the top of the screen and click on the chat icon to send us a message. This is the second of 2 classes and will last just over 20 minutes. First, we're going to look at how to deal with multiple choice questions, and then we're going to look at how to deal with matching information to paragraph questions. So by the end of this class, you should be more familiar with how to answer those 2 types of questions. During the class, there'll be times when you have to answer questions. These will appear below the video. I'll tell you when you need to answer them. I'll give you 10 to 15 seconds for each one. So let's start with multiple choice questions. So what exactly are multiple choice questions? Well, they're questions in the reading that have 4 answers to choose from. So it'd be like A, B, C, and D. You have to choose one of them. Usually, there's 2 different types. They could be either completing a sentence where you have the first half of the sentence and then you have 4 endings and you have to choose the correct ending. Or they could be answering a question where you have a question and you have 4 answers to that question. So those are the 2 different types of multiple choice questions you can get. They refer to just part of the text, not the whole text. So you don't have to read the whole text and jump around all over the place. It'll just be part of the text that you're looking at. You're trying to find the answer in there. But let's look at how to answer these types of questions. Well, the first step with most IELTS questions is to highlight the keywords. And that's the same here. By keywords, we mean the most important words in the question. And we're going to look at how to do this in a moment. And then you have to think of synonyms for them. So words that have the same meaning. Once you've highlighted the keywords and you've thought of synonyms, you need to find the part of the text containing the answer. So you quickly look for it and you go, okay, I think the answer is in here. When you've found that part of the text, you need to read that part carefully to see which answer is fully paraphrased. What I mean is which of the options, the 4 options, is 100% in there. Not just 1 word or 2 words, but the whole thing needs to be in the text. And which are distractors. So because there's 4 options, 3 of them are incorrect. So 3 of them will likely have distractors in them. And remember, if you're still not sure what the correct answer is, with multiple choice questions, you can just guess. You have 4 possible answers, so you have a 25% chance of getting it correct. So let's now see an example of a question. So we see here we have a multiple choice question, and this one is a sentence completion. You've got the first half of the sentence here and 3 endings to it. Now, this is taken from the IELTS general training, and usually the reading text one is like a social survival. Okay, so it could be like notices or advertisements or something like that. And this type of question would come from that. So the first thing that we need to do is to highlight the keywords. So we've got the course and mainly here. Now, not just the keywords here in the beginning bit in question, we also need to highlight the keywords in the answers as well. So here we have the course is mainly promoting, the verb, future developments, there's a noun phrase, and management, again, another noun. The course is mainly based on, there's the verb, projects, noun, which are monitored by our team. There's like a verb phrase, okay? And then the final one, the course is mainly aimed at, it's the verb, those wishing and further their careers. So those would be the keywords, and that's always the first step to answering a multiple choice question. Now, once we've highlighted the keywords, you can see them underlined here. We have the paragraph that we need to check to see which is correct in. So we found the part of the text. Now, obviously, in the IELTS, you'd have a big text with lots of different parts. So we're imagining, okay, we found the part that we need and we have it here in front of us. Now, what I'd like you to do is to look at question 1 below the video and see if you can choose which is the correct ending. I'll give you 10 to 15 seconds to try that. Okay, so the correct answer here is actually C. Now we're going to go through each one individually. So we're going to start with A, so promoting future developments in management. Now, if we look through this paragraph, you'll see that we've got a few keywords here. We've got like promoting and promoted here. Now they look nearly the same, but they actually have different meanings. Here, promoting means like advertising or encouraging, that type of thing. But promoted here means to get a better position, a better job. So they look the same, but different meanings. So that would be a distractor. Also, you can see here we've got management and management. Now you can see management a few times in here. Now, if you see the exact same word from the question in the text, that should make you think, is this a distractor? Is it too easy? Because that would probably be too easy if it's got the same word in question and the same word in the text. And then it does have the word future, but this is just saying in the future, whereas this is specifically talking about future developments. So it doesn't have all the information from this sentence here. So it can't be that one. Again, we can look at B and we can see a few words in there, like projects, and here projects. Here monitored and here monitoring. But here monitoring projects is the type of project. Whereas here project, which are monitored by our team. So we've got team again here. These have totally different meanings. This is project which our team look at and monitor. Whereas these are the types of the project. So this is a monitoring project and this is a team building project. So although it has those words there, they're distractors. So you have to really read the whole sentence to make sure that all of it is contained in there. So let's look at the correct answer now. So it says it's aimed at, okay, which you could say this course is ideal for, aimed at, people focusing on improving your team skills, such as planning and monitoring. This is the perfect course. So again, ideal for or aimed at. New team leaders, or those wishing to, hoping to, same meaning, further their careers and be promoted to a management position, they have the same meaning as well. So we can see that all of this sentence is paraphrased in the text. It's not just one or two words. All of it is there. And that's what you need to do. You're not just looking for one word or one keyword. You're looking to see if the whole sentence is in there. Now let's turn our attention to matching information to paragraph questions. So they're a little bit different. So let's have a look at what they are. Well, these are questions where you have to match a paragraph or section of a text to a statement or a piece of information. Now, unlike the multiple choice questions, which just focus on a small part of the text, these focus on the whole text. Because it's talking about paragraphs, you sometimes have to look at paragraph A and then paragraph C and paragraph E. So you're jumping around all over the text. And the answers are not in order usually. So the answer to statement 1 might be paragraph E, whereas the answer to statement 2 might be paragraph B. So you might have to first read E, then go to B, then go to F, then go to A. So you just often have to jump around with these types of questions. But let's look at how to answer them. Well, again, you still need to first look at the statements and highlight the keywords in the questions or the statements. And again, think of synonyms for them, just like we did with those multiple choice ones. Then what you need to do is skim the text. So read the whole thing very quickly, just to get a general idea for it. So you'll have an idea of what each paragraph is about, roughly. Then you reread the questions again. So you look back at the questions and try to guess which paragraph the sections are contained in, okay? So you'll look back at the questions, you go, yeah, okay, I think this one is in paragraph E. I think this one is probably in paragraph F, okay? So after that, you go to that paragraph or section and scan for the keywords. So the keywords that we've highlighted here, you then look around that for the keywords, and then you see if the information in that paragraph section matches the question. So you'll find some keywords, and then you check it with the question to see if it matches. So that's how we'd approach that. And let's take a look at a couple for some examples. So here is an example of a matching information to paragraph question. And this is how it would look in the exam. It says, for which course are the following statements true? So that just means you have these statements here, and you're going to match them to a course, which will be a paragraph. And it says, write the correct letter A to C in the boxes 1 to 4 on your answer sheet. And here it says, note, you may use any letter more than once. So that's a really important thing to remember, is that paragraph A could be the answer for 2 of these statements, okay? If you've used A once, don't think, okay, now I can forget about A, because maybe A is also the answer to another question. So you can use them more than once. That's important to remember here. So again, like we said, with the multiple choice questions, with these matching information to paragraph ones, you have to start by highlighting the key words. So let's do that together. So it says, you attend this course if you want to get a better job within your current company, so your company at the moment. So those would be the key words in there: verbs, verb phrases, and nouns. So it's perfect, so adjective, for people whose hours change a lot, but they still want to learn. So we've got a verb phrase here, we've got a noun phrase, and we've got an adjective. That's what we mean by key words. This course will improve your ability to get people to collaborate well together. Again, a verb phrase and another verb phrase, improve your ability, and the noun this course. This course is ideal, adjective, for people who have their own company. Okay, again, a noun phrase. So there we go. We've gone through each one and we've highlighted all of the key words. Now, what we're going to do is have a little bit of practice answering these. So I would like you to look at question 2 below the video and see which of these match to paragraph A. Now, remember, it may be more than one answer in this situation. Maybe it could be 3, it could be 2, it could be 1. But which of these statements match to paragraph A? And I'm going to give you 10 to 15 seconds to try that now. Okay, so let's now go through the answers together. Well, the correct ones here are 1 and 3, and we're going to see how they are. So let's start with the first one. So it says, you attend this course if you want to get a better job is the key word. But if we look at this second sentence, it says, this is the perfect course for new team leaders or those hoping to be promoted. So be promoted, get a better job, they're synonyms. Also, it says, within your current company. Now, because it says new team leaders that want to be promoted to a management position in the future. So that means they don't want to move to a different company. They want to stay in their company and move from one position to a higher position in that company. So that would be synonyms for in your current company. So we can see that this course is perfect, as it says here. You do it if you want to get a better job within your current company. So all of that is paraphrased in there. So that's the correct answer for 1. But A is also the correct answer for 3. As we said, you can use the letter more than once. So let's have a look now at that. Well, it talks about it's perfect for people who, the course will improve your ability to get people to collaborate well together. And if we read this first sentence, it says, ideal for focusing on improving your team management skills, such as planning and monitoring projects and team building. So team building is getting people to collaborate well together, get people to collaborate well together. So all of that is team building, has the same meaning. So this course is also perfect for that. So 1 and 3, both the answer is A. Let's now look at paragraph B. And again, I'd like you to look at the question below the video and choose which statement or statements match to paragraph B. Okay, so the correct answer here is statement 4 matches to paragraph B. Let's have a little look. It says this course is ideal for people who have their own company. Now, if we look through, it says through a series of workshops and collaborative activities with other participants, you will learn how to better identify the key strengths and weaknesses of your business. Okay, have their own company. So if you have your own company, it's your business. And this course is ideal for those currently running businesses. If you're running a business, that means you have your own business. Here we've got the word ideal, and here again, it's got ideal. So this course matches to 4. Now, just be careful that we had the word collaborate here and collaborative. That was a distractor because this is just saying that there are workshops and collaborative activities. It's not saying what the course is good for. Let's now move on to paragraph C. And again, look below the video and see if you can match the statement to the paragraph. Okay, well, there's only one left. It's number 2. So let's see why that's the correct answer. So it's perfect for people whose hours change a lot, but they still want to learn. Okay, so here it says a convenient way to learn the basics of marketing with a flexible timetable to suit you. So if your hours change a lot, then you need a flexible timetable. Again, it says study at times that fit into your schedule and work to completing these core modules. So that's the key bit, is the hours changing and that this fits your schedule or has a flexible timetable. So it matches perfectly with that one. Okay, so if you have any questions, please go to the top of the screen and click on the chat icon to send us a message. Now, remember to complete the online training and practice activities. And thank you very much for joining the course. We'll see you again. Goodbye. Hello and welcome to the class. My name is Daniel. And today we're going to be looking at detailed reading. Now, if you have a question after the class, you can go to the top of the screen and click on the chat icon to send us a message. This is the first of 2 classes and will last around 15 minutes. First, we're going to talk about what detailed reading is, and then we're going to talk about when to use it in your Ielts exam. So by the end of this session, you'll be more aware of this reading style. Now, during the class, there'll be questions for you to answer. These will appear below the video. I'll tell you when you need to answer them, and I'll give you 10 to 15 seconds to answer each one. But you may want to pause the video to give yourself a bit more time for them. So let's get started. Let's first look at what detailed reading is. Well, it's reading to get a comprehensive understanding of a text or part of a text. And what we mean by this word comprehensive is to fully understand it. Like 100 or 95% of it, the majority of it. Well, when should you read in detail? Well, there's a couple of situations. The first would be when you're doing matching headings to paragraph questions. And we're going to see some examples of those in a moment, but they're very, very common in the IELTS reading. Pretty much every single test will have one on it. Another time is when you need to fully understand part of a text. So generally, it could be a paragraph or a section, and you're going to use this strategy in that situation. So how do we do it then? Well, the first step is to read the first two sentences in a paragraph. Now, in academic reading, generally the most important information is contained in the first couple of sentences of a paragraph, the main topic. So that would be step one to this. Then you read the last sentence of that paragraph, and then you would skim the rest of the paragraph for any key words, like most important words or words that you need to try to answer the question. Now, by doing that, you'll have a good picture of most of what is contained in that paragraph. It's important as well that you ignore any words that you don't know. The problem with trying to understand every single word is that it wastes a lot of time, and time is very, very precious in the IELTS reading. So you want to ignore any words you don't know. If you don't know them, there's nothing that can help really. So keep skipping past them and continue trying to understand the whole paragraph rather than specific little details of it. And remember, don't rush. This reading style takes a bit longer than other ones like skimming and scanning, but when you need to do it, you have to do it, and you have to take your time. If you rush, you're not going to fully understand the text, or you're not going to fully understand the part of the text that you're reading. So please take your time, do it slowly, and try to get a comprehensive understanding of that part that you're reading. If you do rush it, you'll probably have to just come back again and read it again. So in a way, you're going to waste more time if you do try and rush. Well, let's have a little example here. So we're going to read part of a text called Toki Pona, which is about a language that has been designed or created. So here's one of the paragraphs, and we're going to try to answer this question. So the first one that I'd like you to look at is below the video, and I'd like you to just answer this. How many sentences are in this paragraph? I'm just going to give you 10 to 15 seconds to try that. Okay, so let's look at this together. Well, sentences are easy to see because they'll always have a stop. So we can see we've got one stop here. That's one sentence. We've got another stop here. So that's two sentences. There's another stop there. So that's three sentences. There's another stop there. That's four. And then there's a stop there. So there's 5 sentences in this paragraph. So if we were using the strategy from before, we'd read the first 2 and the last one, and then we'd just look at the keywords in the middle. Now, I'd like you to look at the next question below the video and answer this. Are there any words that you don't know? I'll just give you 10 to 15 seconds to think of that. Okay, so probably the answer is yes, because it has this word here, conlang, which you've probably never seen before. But the good thing is that here it gives this definition. It means it's a constructed language, so that's explaining what that means. Now, all the other words, if you don't know them, they're probably not super important. If it is really important, like this word conlang, the writer will probably give you a definition of it. And you can still understand the general meaning without understanding every single word. Now look at question 3 below the video, and I want you to say, what is the paragraph about? Is it about why the language was created, the continued development of the language, or what Toki Pona is? I'll give you 10 to 15 seconds to think of that. Okay, let's look together. Well, in these first 2 sentences, it says when it was created. So it talks about who made it, Sonia Lang. She created the language. And then it tells us a bit about it. It says it had 120 words and no use of tenses, and that it's no ordinary language. So that's in the first 2 sentences, we can get that. Then in the last sentence, it says this is a principle reflected in the name of the language. The language means speak simply or good communication, among other interpretations. And we can skim the middle, and you can just see like stuff like it's a con language, a constructed language, and it was a product of Lang's informal experiments. So just by looking at those things, we can see, does it talk about why the language was created? No, it doesn't say why. Does it talk about the continued development of the language, how it's developing now? No, it doesn't describe that at all. Is it talking about what the language is? Yes, it's giving us an explanation of what is the language. So it's a constructed language and it has no tenses and it uses only 120 words. So 3, or I, is the correct answer to that one here. So by using that detailed reading strategy, we haven't had to read every word. You've just read the first 2 sentences, the last sentence, and you've just looked at some of the most important words in the middle. And by doing that, we can already answer this matching headings to paragraphs question. Now let's have another bit of practice. So here is a bit of a bigger paragraph here, and it's labeled paragraph F. And what we're going to try and do is say, what is the best paragraph heading for this paragraph? Would it be what to leave in and what to leave out? Which colors should be included? Or copying the languages of the past? Now, I want you to look at the next question below the video and choose one of those options. And remember to do this strategy we've just spoken about, the detailed reading strategy. So read the first 2 sentences, read the last sentence, and just quickly look at the keywords in the middle. Okay, well, let's have a little look now together. So we're going to start by first going over the first sentence that says, it talks about the creation of her new language. She worked against the usual trend of lexical construction, whereby languages add their vocabularies organically over time through exposure to new items and concepts. Now, this one here, she said she worked against it, whereas here it says copying the languages of the past. So it can't be that one. So it's not the third option. It then says she started with a long list of terms and decided which were dispensable, so which you could throw away, and ended with an array of words, including nouns, adjectives, and verbs, which she felt covered the basic universal concepts effectively and could be combined to create any conceivable item or concept. So from the first 2 paragraphs, we've got a lot of information there already. Sorry, from the first 2 sentences. And then we need to read the last sentence. And it says, ultimately, she decided to translate only the 3 primary colors, leaving all of the shades and combinations of these, purple being described as lasso, loje, blue, red. So here it's talks about colors. So you might think, okay, it's about which colors should be included. But that's just the last sentence, okay? If you remember in this beginning bit, it talks about which words were dispensable and all the words, the nouns, the adjectives, the verbs that she decided to include. So the colors was just an example of some of the words she decided to include and some that she decided to leave out. So actually the whole paragraph is talking about what words to leave in and what to leave out. So the correct answer in this situation would be I. So we can really see how a quite big paragraph, that's quite a large paragraph we just read, but we read it quite quickly. We just read the first 2 sentences, the last sentence, and looked at a couple of words in the middle. But even just from the first 2 sentences to the last sentence, we got a really good idea of the general meaning of that paragraph. And that is the aim of detailed reading. And it can really, really, really save you a lot of time. Okay, if you have any questions, remember you can go to the top of the screen and click on the chat. Hello and welcome to the class. This is the second of 2 classes and will last around 15 minutes. First, we're going to talk about what matching headings to paragraph questions require, and then we're going to have some practice answering them. So by the end of the session, you'll be more aware of how to answer this type of reading question. Now, during the class, there'll be questions that appear below the video. I'll tell you when you need to answer them, and I'll give you 10 to 15 seconds for each one. But you might want to pause the video to give yourself some more time to answer them. So let's start by looking at what matching headings to paragraph questions involve. So you start with a list of headings marked with Roman numerals like these, I, V, etc. And you have to match these to a paragraph. So you have to choose a heading that describes each paragraph. Often you don't need all of the headings. So maybe there's like 6 paragraphs, but you have 10 headings. So that can make it quite difficult because some of the headings sometimes have similar meanings. And it requires you to have a full understanding of each paragraph because it's not just checking your understanding of one small part of the paragraph. Unlike a lot of other IELTS questions where you just have to find the keywords and see if one sentence is paraphrased, in this one, you actually have to understand the full paragraph and what is the main idea in that paragraph to answer it correctly. And because it's dealing with paragraphs, it covers the whole text. So you're not just looking at part of a text, you're looking at the whole text, and you're having to often jump around the text sometimes. This makes it quite difficult because there's a lot of text to read. So it should really be one of the first questions you try to answer if it's there. As I say, do this question type before the others, because once you've read each paragraph and you understand it, then the questions later will be much easier because you'll go, yeah, okay, I know where that question is. It's in paragraph B or it's in paragraph C. So it's really important, if you have a matching headings to paragraph questions, do it before all other questions. So let's look at the strategy or how to answer this type of question. So the first thing that you need to do is read the headings first. So you look through them and you highlight the keywords. What we mean by keywords are the most important words in the headings. We're going to look at how to do this in a moment. When you've done that, you need to read the paragraphs in detail. We looked at this in class 1. So you're reading the first 2 sentences of each paragraph, the last sentence, and then you're quickly skimming some of the most important words in the middle of the paragraph. So you read the paragraphs in detail. And it's a good idea when you've read each paragraph that you quickly make a note of what you think the main idea of that paragraph is. This will then help you to match it later to the headings. So it's, again, as I say, it's good to think, what do you think is the main idea in that paragraph? Once you've got your ideas, then you need to check them with the headings and see which ones match the best to the headings. And it's really important, as I said, you have to get an understanding of the whole paragraph. Don't just look for keywords because they might be distractors. What I mean by distractors is they might be something that makes you think, yes, this is the correct answer. But actually, the people writing the exam put it there to kind of distract you, to take your attention away from the correct answer. So if you're just looking for keywords, a lot of the time you'll make a mistake. And it's really, really important that you try to get a full understanding of that paragraph that you're reading. So we're going to have a bit of practice now. And we can see here that we've got 4 headings. So we've got the principles behind the language, how the language operates, an increasing interest in the language, and why the language grew more popular. And what we're going to do is just do the first step of the strategy for answering these types of questions. So we said we had to read them and highlight the key words. So what are key words? Well, keywords are nouns and noun phrases for one. For example, here you can see principles is a noun. That would be a keyword. Language is a noun. That would also be a keyword. How the language operates, that would be a keyword. That's another noun. And increasing interest is a noun. So that would be a keyword. And again, language. And then why the language grew more popular. So we've highlighted the nouns there. That's some of the keywords. You'd also want to highlight any verbs or verb phrases. So here we can see the verb operate and we can see grow as well. So we want to highlight those. Other things that would be considered keywords are adjectives. Now we can see we've just got one adjective here, which is popular or more popular. So we want to highlight that as well. Oh, and increasing as well is an adjective here. And then you'd want to highlight any adverbs or adverb phrases. So adverbs are things like how is an adverb and why is also an adverb. And they're really important because look here, how the language operates, that's different to why the language operates. Okay, so the adverbs do make a big difference. So that difference would be like here, we can see in 4, it says an increasing interest in the language and why the language grew more popular. Now, grow more popular and increasing interest, they have the same meaning. But the difference is this one is specifically talking about why it grew more popular, whereas this one is not looking at why. So those adverbs can be very important. Well, let's look at these 2 paragraphs here. Now, what I'd like you to do is to use that detailed reading strategy to get a general understanding for each paragraph. So remember, I want you to read the first 2 sentences of each paragraph, the last sentence, and then just quickly skim the middle bits. Now, I'm going to give you a bit of time to try that now, and then we'll look at them together. We're trying to think, what is the general idea of that paragraph? Okay, so let's have a look together. Well, if we start with this first paragraph, we can see that it talks about the driving force of the language. It also mentions these 2 philosophies of directness in this first sentence. And then it talks about it's a reaction against modern civilization was at the heart of it. And then at the end, it says that belief is hardwired into the language. So it's talking about the main core concept behind the language, the philosophy of the language, if you like, or another word, you could even say the principles of the language. And we can see that just from reading the first 2 sentences here and this last sentence, that this paragraph is all about the main idea behind the language or the philosophy of the language. Now let's look at the second paragraph, or paragraph C. So well, we can see it's talking about some dates, 2007, and they said there were 100 online fans that could speak the language. And then there was a guide added, and this in 2014, and it increased its exposure. And then finally here it talks about 2017. There were several members that were collaborating, and a library of literature was created and resources could be found. So it's talking about how it grew, how the language grew or developed. So it started in 2007 and got bigger and bigger and bigger, as we can see here. So again, just by reading those first two sentences of the last one, we can get a general understanding of the whole paragraph. Well, let's now look at which of these headings that we saw before would match up with paragraph B. And what I want you to do is look at the question below the video and choose one of the four headings. Okay, well, hopefully you chose this one as the correct one. So remember, we're talking about how it mentioned the philosophies and the driving force and what was at the heart of it and the belief that is hardwired into the language. So belief at the heart of philosophy, driving force, all of these are connected to the principles behind the language. So it's the reason she created it, the principles for it. So that's the correct one for that. Now, just be a bit careful, because if we look here, you've got the word operates in 3, and you've got the word operation. Now, if you're just looking for keywords and you saw operates and you saw operation, you might think, okay, operates, operation, these two go together. And this is an example of a distractor, because if you're just looking for one or two words and you're matching it up based on that, you're probably going to get it wrong. So it really is about getting a general understanding of the whole paragraph first before making your decisions. Now let's do the same for this next paragraph. Again, have a little look at the question below the video to see if you can choose the correct option. Okay, well, the correct answer here is this one. So as we said, it talks about the different dates and how the language was becoming more popular. Now, the difference between these is this one says it's why the language grew more popular. Now, nowhere in here does it talk about any reasons why the language was becoming more popular. It doesn't say because this was happening. So it doesn't give any particular reasons for it. It just does say that the language was growing and growing and growing, and giving examples of how it was growing. So 5, this one, is not the correct answer because it doesn't give us enough information to say why. It just is an increasing interest in the language. So that word why was really important to understanding that that's not the correct heading. Okay, if you have any questions, remember you can go to the top of the screen and click on the chat icon to send us a message. Hello and welcome to the class.
So let's stop here for a quick break and we'll continue in part 2. So till now we have completed detailed reading and synonyms, right? So we will continue with this part in our next session today.